If you trace your finger across a map right to the crossroads of Europe, Africa, and Asia, you're going to land on Southwest Asia. Welcome to this explainer. We're about to take a literal journey through a region where geography isn't just some background scenery. It entirely dictates where people live, how they trade, and exactly how nations interact. Today, we're building a mental map of this incredibly dynamic region together, focusing on the relative positions and physical borders of some key nations. All right, let's dive into our itinerary. We'll build this map piece by piece. First up, the eastern edge, then rivers and northern borders, followed by the Mediterranean coastal strip, the desert peninsula, and finally, we'll wrap up with exactly why all this geography matters so much. Section 1, the eastern edge, mountains and coasts. So we're kicking off our tour on the far eastern side of Southwest Asia. We're looking at two massive mountainous neighbors that sit right side by side, but have incredibly different geographic setups. Notice the stark contrast here. Afghanistan is entirely landlocked and super rugged. Because it doesn't border any major bodies of water, trade and movement are historically really challenging. But just to its west, we find Iran. Now, Iran is also highly mountainous, but it leverages massive coastlines. It borders the Caspian Sea up north and the Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea to the south. This is a huge deal because it allows Iran to ship petroleum and other goods straight through the vital Strait of Hormuz to reach global markets. Okay, we've established our eastern edge. Now, picture tracing a line straight west from the Iranian border. If you travel west from those mountains, where do you end up? Well, we're heading right into the heart of the region's great river valleys. Section 2, Rivers and Northern Borders, the lifelines of the region. We have officially arrived in Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. This is an area entirely defined by its complex northern borders and vital waterways. I mean, in a hot, dry climate, water is quite literally power. Let's look at the two major rivers dominating this area, the Euphrates and the Tigris. The flow of these rivers brilliantly illustrates just how interconnected this region really is. Think about it. Turkey controls the mountainous headwaters where both of these massive rivers start. But downstream, Syria and Iraq rely heavily on those exact same rivers for their very survival, using them for everything from drinking water to irrigation. So when Turkey builds dams to create reservoirs up north, it directly reduces the amount of water flowing to the countries downstream. As you can imagine, that can definitely lead to some regional friction. Now, right before reaching the sea, these two mighty rivers actually join forces in southern Iraq. They merge to form a waterway called the Shatt al-Arab, which runs for about 125 miles before emptying out into the Persian Gulf. What's absolutely crucial to understand geographically here is that this river also serves as a physical border between Iraq and Iran. That makes it a critical and, honestly, sometimes disputed stretch of water for both nations. Moving our finger northwest from Iraq, we hit Syria. Syria has a really fascinating geography. Much of its interior is the harsh Syrian desert, but it also benefits from a narrow, highly agricultural coastal plain right on the Mediterranean Sea. And its capital, Damascus, which by the way is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, thrives purely because it's located near a large desert oasis. Directly north of Syria is Turkey, which physically borders Iraq, Syria, and Iran, almost acting as a massive geographical roof over the entire region. Let's keep moving south down the Mediterranean coastline from Syria and its neighbor Lebanon to build the next piece of our map. What complex landscape do we encounter next? Well, we're entering an area where physical borders are historically, politically, and geographically incredibly intricate. Section 3. The Mediterranean coastal strip. Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip. In this tightly packed coastal region, bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the west and the Jordan River to the east, we find Israel hugging the Mediterranean coast, sitting just south of Lebanon. Within this exact same geographic space are territories where Palestinian Arabs live today. We see the Gaza Strip pinned directly against the Mediterranean Sea, sharing a border with Israel. Further inland, the West Bank acts as a physical territory situated right between Israel and the neighboring country of Jordan. To really give you a sense of scale regarding just how tightly packed this geography is, the Gaza Strip is only 140 square miles. To put that into perspective, that is just a bit larger than the city of Atlanta. Geographic space here is incredibly limited, making literally every single square mile vastly important. Running right alongside this area is the Jordan River. It's actually the smallest of the three major river systems in Southwest Asia, but it is an absolute lifeline.
Its tributaries start way up in the mountains of Lebanon and Syria, flowing south through Israel and right into the Sea of Galilee. From there, it flows south again, acting as a strict physical and political boundary, separating Israel and the West Bank from the country of Jordan. Finally, it ends up in the Dead Sea, which is a body of water so salty that absolutely nothing can live in it.
So let's leave the Mediterranean coast behind. If we travel eastward from the West Bank, moving right through the country of Jordan, what vast landscape dominates the map directly to our south? Well, we're trading the coast for some sweeping, arid expanses. Section 4. The Desert Peninsula. Sand, sea, and oil. Welcome to the Arabian Peninsula. This is a huge landmass surrounded by crucial shipping lanes and dominated by incredible deserts and oil reserves. This massive peninsula is defined physically by the Rub al-Khali, which is mostly located in Saudi Arabia. Known as the Empty Quarter, it's actually the largest all-sand desert in the entire world, covering a full one-third of the Arabian Peninsula. It's a harsh, incredibly dry environment that has dictated nomadic lifestyles like those of the Bedouins for centuries. Now, check out the extreme geographic contrast in this region. On one hand, you have the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the largest country on the peninsula, stretching all the way from the Red Sea to the Persian Gulf. But right up at its northeast corner sits Kuwait. Kuwait is a tiny, heart-shaped nation on the Persian Gulf. But despite its small size, it sits at the absolute center of Southwest Asia's oil reserves, making its geography wildly valuable. Surrounding all these deserts is a highly strategic network of water. The Persian Gulf is basically the absolute center of global oil shipping. To get out of the Gulf, ships have to pass through the super narrow Strait of Hormuz. On the other side of the peninsula, the Red Sea acts as the western boundary. And connecting that Red Sea to the Mediterranean is the Suez Canal. Built back in 1869, this man-made waterway drastically changed global geography forever. Before it was built, a ship sailing from London to India literally had to travel over 12,000 miles all the way around Africa. The canal cut that route down to just 7,300 miles, turning a massive, grueling voyage into a trip that could be done in just 3 weeks. Section 5. Why this geography matters. Connecting the map to reality. So, we've traced the mountains, the rivers, the coastlines, and the deserts. The crucial point here is that understanding this geography isn't just about memorizing shapes on a map. It's about understanding human survival. In a region entirely defined by water scarcity on one hand and oil abundance on the other, physical features dictate absolutely everything. A mountain watershed in Turkey decides if crops are going to grow down in Iraq. A tiny coastal strip dictates access to international waters. A narrow strait in the Persian Gulf controls the flow of the entire global economy. The land itself determines exactly where people live, farm, and build their economies, and this history runs incredibly deep. It's often said that in the Middle East, the conflict today is a matter of generations, not cultures. Ultimately, as resources become even scarcer, how will this physical geography continue to dictate the destiny of those generations? It's a huge question to think about. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.